Good day, everyone, and welcome to Home at the Hollow. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to share a recipe with you today that I have been making for years and years and years, and it is absolutely easy and it is absolutely fabulous. But as you guys know, I've been kind of unpacking a little bit here and there as much as I can and as much as I have time for, and I found a recipe and I looked at it, and it was kind of similar to the recipe that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I thought, they're so similar. I have to know which one is better. I must know. So what I did is I did a cook-off. I made both recipes side by side and did a very fair comparison. And I hope that you will continue to watch, but the one that my go-to recipe is in my new cookbook, Home at the Hollow, Simply Homemade, and it is on page 51. It is a Mississippi pot roast, and I know some of you have heard of it and some of you have not, but those of you who have not heard of it, this will give you an idea of maybe some variations for a Mississippi pot roast, because one variation I think that I made like many years ago, and I'm not sure why I slipped the recipe, just slipped it away. But I have been making the Mississippi pot roast for, gosh, a very long time, and I hope that you join me. I hope that you try the recipe. I hope that you will consider my cookbook. It has been a labor of love and one that has been coming for such a very long time, and I am so incredibly proud. But I hope that you join me, and we will see you very soon. My first step with this particular recipes is I'm going to brown my roast in just a very lightly greased pan, and this is just very lightly greased, a little bit of salt and pepper. You can, if you want to, flour this, add maybe a little bit more oil and give it a little bit of a crust, but I don't find that it's particularly necessary to do this. So I'm going to just very generous with the salt and pepper. And we'll just get this started. And give this a, you don't want it cooked, but you do want it, just kind of lightly seared. And I'm doing this because I want to know which recipe is the better recipe. And I guess it kind of is according to your taste too. So as you can see, I have sear browned my roast beef. This is about a 6.5, 7 pound roast, a chuck roast. And I have the different components here for our cook-off. And may the best piece of beef win. I've got my cookbook here that has the Mississippi pot roast, and the ingredients for that are here, which is beef broth, ranch dressing seasoning mix, a gravy mix, and yes, I counted them, whole pepperoncinis. And on this side, I've got beef broth mixed with Italian, I think you guys can see, Italian seasonings, garlic, and the pepperoncinis, and some of the liquid going along with pepperoncinis. And for fairness sake, I have thankfully replaced my Cuisinart that just kind of packed it in at a very bad time, but I'm so thankful that I have this one. I've got two, I don't think you guys can see, but I have two totally separate bags here. And we're going to just get started. And I think how I'm going to cut this is like this. And again, this is just browned slightly. Let's see. And definitely salt and pepper. If I can get through that. I think you guys can see, yeah, salt and pepper. So I'm going to put one side over here and the other side over here. And let's get this out of the way. Let's see if we can actually bring this slow cooker in a little bit closer. If I can, I'm not really sure if I can. And I'm gonna say, I think you guys can see. We will just set this here. I wanted it to be just as fair and even as possible. So I guess on the left side here, I'm going to do the Italian inspired. And it's basically a cup of beef broth with the Italian dry seasoning salad mix and 3 cloves of garlic. And I'm just going to pour that right over it. It is just that easy. And my whole pepperoncinis, certainly if you find sliced, that's okay too. And it just says just to pour it all in, so that's what I'm going to do. I poured it all in. And the next one, which is the one that is in the cookbook, is a 1/2 cup of beef broth, the gravy mix, and I'm going to just sprinkle that over. You could have sprinkled the roast with the gravy mix and then browned it off, but I didn't want to lose any of the gravy mix. The ranch seasoning. I know some of you probably have not heard of Mississippi pot roast, but it is delicious. And I just honestly had to know which one was better as far as I'm concerned anyway. And no juice, but the pepperoncinis. And I believe that's it. So we're going to just cover this up. And I like to do it low and slow for 7 to 8 hours. Certainly if you want to do it differently, but I like to do my roast beef low and slow. And if you want to test the temperature of the roast beef, halfway through. And again, it depends on your taste. I grew up in a family where mother cooked the roast beef until it just put his hands up and said, I give. So I'm going to see how that is. And I'm not going to add anything else to it. I'm not going to do anything else to it other than take it out and put it on a plate and test each one for you guys. So you guys, with roast beef, with the prices that they are now and the price that materials are now, you don't need to go, well, I don't know which one to use, because I was going through, again, packed boxes, and I found the one with, now the Mississippi pot roast, the one that's on the right, I have used for years and years and years. The one with the Italian seasoning, that's Italian inspired, I think I've maybe used once or twice in like many, many years. And I don't remember, but we're going to cook these off and may the best recipe win. And here we are, 8 hours later. And I wanted to check the temperature before I think about serving this up. So I've got my gauge all ready here. And we shall see. Ideally, a chuck roast for a crock pot in this situation should be cooked to about 190 to 195 degrees, and that's for the high temperature to break down the collagen and give yourself a very, very moist, tender roast. But we are at 183, 185, so I think we're going to make it. I think it's going to be just fine. I've baked some potatoes off, and I've cubed them up, and I'm going to brown them in just a wee bit of olive oil with some fresh green peppers and onions, and slice this roast beef up a wee bit, and a little bit of gravy, and we will take a taste test and see which one I prefer, and we will just see. I hope you join me. Well, thank you for rejoining me. It's been 8+ hours. It's been a day, but I've made my potatoes. It's just a really quick, baked potato cubed with just some fresh green peppers and onions, of course, and a little bit of seasoning salt. And that'll give us an idea of what the gravy looks like in this. But let me set my plate here. Of course, this is the left. I'm sure it's kind of switched around in the video, but this is the left side. This is the Italian-inspired roast beef. And this is the infamous Mississippi roast beef. And they're kind of the same, a lot different. I can tell you just by looking, I don't know if you guys can see, but just by looking, the gravy, if you want to call it that, is really, in this one, is in the Italian inspired, is very watery, very, very loose. And the one with the Mississippi pot roast, definitely looks, a little bit thicker, not a lot thicker, but a little bit thicker. And so yeah, there we are. But I'm going to take a taste of each one, and we'll go from there. I'm going to pour a little bit of gravy on this. It's I'm not really quite sure, but I will take a taste and see. I want to be fair. It cuts very, very nicely, and it just absolutely falls apart. And that tastes really, really good. The gravy is kind of, it's spiced well. Excuse me. But it's just kind of missing a little something. I like it. And I guess if that was all I had, it would do in a pinch. But the body of this particular, little gravy is very, very nice. And I will set these aside. And yes, I absolutely do eat these peppers, the pepperoncini. They're, again, it's one of those things, and I'm sure you'll hear it again from me. It provides a lot of flavor, but it's not hot. Or at least I don't think it's hot. So this is very, very nice. Let's see how this pours. Oh yeah, that's much better. Well, that's a stronger pepperoncini flavor for sure. They're both equally good. I have to say I prefer the Mississippi pot roast. This is good. Maybe if you could fix and thicken what is left, then, that would be probably very, very good. So, but that's my favorite, is the Mississippi pot roast. And let's just see how these pour. I think you guys can see. It's really watery, very, very watery. And that's much better. It's darker, a little bit thicker, much better. But I hope that you guys give this recipe a try. I'm so enjoying cooking and sharing with you guys, and of course I always hope you try it and let me know how you like it. And I want to thank you for watching, and don't be shy. Share this video, or if you happen to prefer another video, share videos with your friends, with your family. I'm gonna enjoy growing this channel. I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day, and I hope y'all all come back to see me here home at the Hollow. Bye, guys.